Conversations with Marc and Debbie, the mediums. Marc Stuart, the Scottish medium, and Debbie Wolf, the smallest medium. Conversations on topical subjects. On subjects other mediums would not dare talk about, but we do. For a quick reading, we can talk to spirits now. Scottish-style mediumship.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday.
Another one of those bloody days, Daddy. What are we doing?
No, yeah, I'm a little better than yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. So it's been about day too, but I'm better.
Right. Got a big news section coming up, so bear with us because we've got a lot of stuff to update you on. Yep. The topic of today's chat is actually we're going to do a biography of a female medium from America, and my bet is that none of you have actually heard of her, but she's actually an extremely important person, not so much in mediumship, although she was a medium, but in women's rights. A woman called Victoria Woodhull.
And let me tell you, and I have not told you this before, I discovered her in high school a very, very long time ago. I was doing a report on Susan B. Anthony, and it mentioned her. And so I did a bunch of research on her. Okay. Now, I don't remember any of that, but just say.
Just to correct you, Debbie, it's not Woodhull, it's
Woodhull. That's what I said. Yeah.
No, you said A-L-L.
No, I said L. Woodhull is what I said.
But you pronounced it with an A. See, this is the American accent. It's the American accent. You just can't.
You just heard it in Scottish instead of in American.
Okay, so here we go for news mode, people. Okay, so the first bit is a little bit of news about ourselves. Let me just put that up and let me just take that down so you can see it. We are making a big change to the way that we market ourselves. For the last umpteen years, we have been heavy sales based, as in we spend a fortune on advertising on Facebook. We've got about 1,000 people in our database, and they all virtually came from registering from adverts. If you're watching this, you're probably one of those people. Now, we're changing our approach slightly, mainly because we're fed up spending money on the advertising. We're going to put time and effort into media content creation. Now, you've heard us talk about this before. You've seen us sort of embryonically start with what we're doing here every Wednesday. A lot of details going into this. Now, the point is we really want to scale this up, and there's only so many hours in the day for the two of us. Right. So it's a straightforward offer. If you want to be a professional medium, and we're talking people that have got 15 hours a week to go through our training, and we'll provide the marketing and the website, and over 6 months, you will be a professional medium if that's what you want to be, and you put the time and the effort into it. And you don't have to give us a cent. What we're looking for are people with skills, creative skills, IT skills, maybe one person, and I stress only one person with admin skills. And don't contact us if you're sitting at home watching this on a mobile phone. No. Forget it. You really have to have skills in these areas. Not putting it up tonight, but if you go to our Facebook pages, go to our marcstuartmedium.com tomorrow, there'll be a link going up with a form that you can fill in, and we'll be able to assess you from there and get back to you if we think you've got potential. So that's our first bit of news. Now, the second bit, talking about the content, we are scaling up on an absolutely huge scale in terms of what we do. So this is a new web page, marcstuartmedium.com, and it's called Network. Now, on the left-hand side are the programs that we do, so details of all of that. On the right-hand side are the platforms that we work on. So, for example, did you know that we've got a blog? Did you know that we've got a podcast? Did you know that we've got a Telegram account? Did you know that we've got an Instagram account?
And TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, of course.
You name it, we've got it. So this is one place where you can find it all, and links there will take you. If you want a podcast, you'll find the links here. If you want to join Telegram, you'll find the links here. Over on the left-hand side are details of the programmings that we're currently doing. I've got a few more ideas at the back of my head on things that we're going to develop and move into. So I said that we've got a podcast. Podcast. I said that we've got a blog.
Yes.
So let me just give you a very quick example. Oh, and sorry, I'm jumping too far ahead.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. You'll find a link to this document on that page. The second thing that we're doing is we're starting themes. Now, what do we mean by that? We've kind of done this before in the past. So we would, on these stream talks, we would have 3 of them with a link subject spread over 3 weeks. We used to do 2 a week, then we cut it down to 1 a week. So we would talk for a week and a half, and then it would talk for 3 weeks. The last time we did it, we expanded it to 6, and we found that it really worked very well. We were able to do a lot of content that was all linked and all made sense. Well, we're expanding that. We're doing it to 3 months.
Yes. So we went from 3 weeks to 3 months.
And we're also expanding it out of the talks that we're doing so that all the events we're doing, as far as possible, will be linked under the same theme. So we'll have weekly podcasts, weekly blogs, weekly streamed talks between myself and Devi, and even the Marc with cards, which has been fairly low. We're scaling that up, so there's going to be about 6 of them over this 3 months, all on the same theme. Now, the theme that we're doing first is, wait for it, folks, feminism and spiritualism. We have kind of touched on this before in the past, and you can tell that with the woman that we're going to do today, and we haven't told you anything about it yet, so she was the first woman to stand for election as the USA president.
Yes.
50 years before women even had the vote. So you can see where we're going.
She was nominated by the Equal Rights Party.
Yeah. And a lot more to it than just that. So anyway, go to that site, marcstuartmedium.com/network. There's a big link at the top, and that'll take you to this sort of page that will effectively give you the dates and the times of everything that we're doing over that event. Right, so let's get back to other bits of news. There's actually, this is a bit wider now, so please people pay attention. I'm afraid there's a health emergency in America, which has caused Scotland to take extreme, and I stress extreme, visa protection and to protect our national wildlife. All caused by this woman here. She basically went out, got some photos of herself in a kilt, so you can see the Scottish element, standing next to a mini Highland cow. Now, we've covered this before, but this obsession has taken off. There are rumours, and we've got the picture to prove it, that she was seen in Texas on a Highland cow.
Wait, she's got the wrong tattoos. That's how you know it. Say hi.
Now, I don't know why an American would want to be riding a bull, and I certainly don't know why an American would want to be riding an Aberdeen Angus, as they're called in Scotland. But there you are. There you are.
Well, there are Americans who ride bulls, so yeah.
Yep. Aww. So in order to protect the real McCoy, they're called Highland cows, but we call them Aberdeen Anguses. I took this video of 12 of them in a field. You're not seeing 12 of them, that's just one of them. But the place that we were, coming back to our themes, the walks with Marc and Ying on Sunday, been talking about having a new piece of equipment. Well, here you are.
Yes.
And I'm actually using it. This is a drone with a camera. Now, it's my wife that's taking the picture of me using the drone. That's it on AI. Now, I'd like to say that this is my telepathic, my psychic powers that you're about to see. Watch the hand. Watch the hand very closely. And watch the drone. And it lands on your hand.
Well, that's the AI in the drone, not you.
That's what I'm saying. I'd like to say. I'm not going to say. I'd like to say. So
Well, you'd like to say.
there are strict rules about where you can use this, and a lot of the places we go for walks, we're not going to be able to use it. For example, the next video that comes out is Royal Botanical Gardens in Edinburgh with a guided tour and a lot of history about Edinburgh involved. But where we can, we will be taking some shots. So, I mean, look at this. This is a place called Pennycook House. So this will probably be a walk in, oh, that's my wife, by the way, that's Ying. Hello, darling. Bye-bye, darling.
She just waved at you.
Yeah.
That was good timing. Good timing.
So anyway, cut a long story short, because we've got Victoria to talk about, but you can see the quality of the camera this little device has. I'm still learning how to use it. And we're not going to have half an hour of videos on this. Battery power wouldn't last that long. But there's going to be shots of castles and houses. And anyway, you get the gist. I think that's about it for news. Can you think of anything else we need to talk about?
That was a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so who is this woman that we're going to be talking about?
She was a really neat human being.
Yeah. So her name is, Victoria Woodhull. Now, her biography, her life story, her parents converted to spiritualism when she was a young child and started taking her on a sort of like guided tour where they were performing, moving to the next location, performing. And she actually
performing.
Well, that's what I was coming to. You're jumping ahead, baby. You're jumping ahead. So essentially, they did fortune telling, spiritualism that we would recognize as proof of life after death, and a sort of psychic tell somebody about whatever. The fortune telling, they were predicting the future. So 2/3 of that rip out, condemn from the Scottish mediumship modern perspective. And I can see why America, although spiritualism has declined in America, I can see from its beginnings, people were doing all this kind of crap and how it's carried forward without the church influence. I did actually learn a lot about the differences between early American spiritualism when I was looking at this compared to the way things evolved in the UK, which is a different topic for a different day. So let's not get sidetracked. She grows up with her parents, and fairly early on, she wants to escape. So she runs away. She links up with a man, she marries him, and they run away to New York. She actually turns out to be quite a businesswoman. She makes quite a lot of money as a medium. So she must have been good or entertaining, depending on whichever and however.
Yeah.
They launch a newspaper, a spiritualist newspaper. Now,
wasn't the stockbroker part first? Or was
that's right. Yes, but
she became a stockbroker. Yeah.
I'm not doing this and she did this and did that. I'm just covering.
Oh, you're not going in chronological order. No. That's just confusing, Mark.
Yeah, but I didn't say this was going to be. Anyway, okay, she becomes a stockbroker. Now, I was actually doing it the other way around because I was going to do the communist bit before the capitalist bit so you could see the.
All right.
But Debbie's interrupted me. So, okay, she becomes a stockbroker. So she's a practicing spiritual medium. She's making a good income doing this. And she's linking up with very rich people. What's the surname again?
Vanderbilt.
How do you pronounce it?
Vanderbilt.
Right. So Mr. Vanderbilt, one of the richest men in America, becomes a client. So again, this is a big difference between the way that spiritualism was going in Great Britain and the way that it was going in America, because America, it's popular amongst the rich. Not saying that it wasn't popular amongst the rich in Britain, but in the Britain, it really becomes working class. So again, jump sharp, get back to the story. She then, with her husband, they launch a newspaper, which is a spiritualist newspaper. And she publishes What's the book called that
The
Karl Marx?
Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, so they published the Communist Manifesto. Now, she's not a communist. Let's be quite
No,
clear about this.
they
No,
just
we're not
published
saying,
it. Right.
yeah,
She wasn't a communist.
but this is capitalist America. Karl Marx actually made some comments about her and didn't like her. So,
Well, of course, she was a strong woman in a time when the patriarchy was strong.
Yeah. Well, actually, more than that, she gets invited to become a suffragette. So she does actually become very politically active.
Yes. She fought very hard for women's rights and the right to vote.
Yeah. She actually had it. Well, she actually, this is quite interesting. She was actually very intelligent, and she read the American Constitution. And the American Constitution does not say all men will be equal. It says all people will be equal.
Yes.
So a woman is a person, a man is a person. So she starts arguing that women already have the right to vote.
Right. And that made the patriarchy mad. Oh, yeah, they did. Got mad.
Yeah. So jump forward umpteen years. I think she's changed husband by now. Or was that after the election? I can't remember.
I think that was before.
Yeah. But anyway, she's had multiple husbands. So think about this. She's a woman. She's political. She's a suffragette. She's a medium. So she's ridiculed for being a medium. And she's openly a medium. But she's a very successful medium financially.
Right. And she was also a proponent of free love. Way back in the 19th century. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people were shocked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Shocked to the nth degree. And then she raises the ante on a mega scale. She stands for the presidency. So let's just be quite clear about this. This is 50 years before women are given the vote. This is a woman that is self-financing her own campaign. She's started, or she's involved in her own political party. And to make things worse, to make things umpteen worse, remember, this is 1872. And when was the American Civil War?
Earlier, by 1850. I don't know the exact dates.
Okay, but we're talking within decades of maybe, say, 20 years maximum of the American Civil War. Her vice president candidate is black.
Yes. Frederick Douglass, who fought for civil rights.
Yeah. So think about it.
Except that he had never agreed to be her vice presidential running mate, and so, but she put him on the ticket.
But he didn't say no. He didn't turn around.
He never said anything. He was never asked. He was just put on the ticket.
Yeah. Remember, we were talking about her attitude towards men's rights.
Oh no, she was for equal rights, not for men's rights, not just for women.
Yeah, no, Debbie, you're missing the point. She's for equal rights, but she doesn't ask the man if he wants to be the vice president. She tells him.
She didn't even tell him. She just put his name down.
So, I think this sums up the activism and the personality and to the nth degree. And the story has even a final twist. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but and we talk about free love and all the rest of it. She starts criticizing a man for a love affair publicly. And she then, the male, whatever you want to call it, patriarchy?
She published the story, in her newspaper. And so it went public, and he threw a fit. Yeah.
So she gets arrested, and she gets released, goes to court or whatever, gets herself out. Sounds a bit like modern times in Mr. Trump, doesn't it? But
no, not even close. No, not even close.
Well, how about this then? She gets elected. She gets arrested again. And when election day comes, she's in jail.
She's in jail, so she can't even try to vote for herself.
Yeah. So, I mean, modern parallels, Mr. Trump was found guilty. Okay,
but he never went to jail.
Yeah, exactly. But she is in jail on the election. So, America does have a history of criminal abuse of power.
No, that's not why
No?
she was in jail. No,
Well,
you're confusing. You're making a comparison that isn't there. I think.
look, no, I'm not. If you want, I mean, if you have got power and you want to eliminate somebody, then you go after them. I mean, for example, in China, when the current president China came to power, he launched a mega campaign against corruption.
Right.
Now, I'm going to say this openly. I'm going to be very careful what I say. Corruption, because of who my wife is and etc. Corruption in China is off the scale.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking at the top level. I'm talking at every local official, everybody. You know, Ying and I don't come into contact with it because we're not dealing with, but we know people who are in, and I'm not going to say any more than that. But when the current president wanted to eliminate people, he launched a national campaign against corruption, and a lot of people suddenly found themselves being arrested. And there was a massive number of people who were rivals to him and his element in the party found themselves in jail for corruption.
Well,
and yet
that is very much like Trump.
Yeah. So that, I think that's what happened to
her. She was put in jail.
Yeah.
So she wasn't putting her enemies in jail. She was.
No, but I'm talking about the American system. I'm not talking about her. She was the victim. It was done to her to shut her up, to drive her out.
Oh, yes. No, it's done by the patriarchy. Don't call it the American system. It's the patriarchy, and it's worldwide.
It's a patriarchy with an American president that's the absolute patriarch.
No, he's the Antichrist.
Okay, well, we're getting way off topic.
But anyway, yes.
Anyway, back to Victoria. So she gets out of jail. She's lost the election, and she pretty much gets. So she goes. She gets on a ship because there weren't any planes in those days, and she comes to glorious United Kingdom.
Yes, now, with her sister.
Yeah. I kind of lost track of her at that point because it kind of escaped, following what she was doing. So, comments, please. What do you think?
Comments, please. Well, I think she's an amazing woman. Who did a lot of things that she was just 100 years too early.
Well, 50 years too early, certainly.
50 at least, but really 100 years before her time.
Agreed. Now, if you want to know anything more about her, remember I said we had a blog? Well, this is the blog. Just go to markstewartmedium.com/blog and you'll find all the articles and everything we've been talking about, you'll find there.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very bottom, obviously it's not the woman herself, but this is sort of public sector style where they get people to search historical character, go to schools, universities.
Hello, I'm Marc Bain.
Play act. We forward a wee bit.
And Horace Greeley, the newspaper
And they
man.
actually
now
act
I know that I could have been a much better president than either of those men, but as you know, I didn't win.
So essentially, if you want to find out a bit more about the woman, go to the blog, and at the bottom of the blog, you'll find the YouTube video. I've watched it, and I really enjoyed it. The woman that does the part does it really well, and then she does question and answer, and then the actor or actress that does the role will actually tell you how they found the research and why they did it and what motivated, etc. So if this woman does interest you, I mean, we've only touched the top of the iceberg.
Oh, yes. There's so much information on her now. I just did a quick Google search to refresh my memory, right? And there is so much about her now.
Yeah. So next question, following on from that, what's the significance of her to modern day America? Which is really what the theme that we're doing for the next 3 months is about. Now, we've dropped hints talking about Mr. Trump, and we're not here to do a party political broadcast or an anti-party
but
political
she was
broadcast.
one of the first feminists in America.
Yeah. And I think that she's a classic point of what we're trying to do, because in our training, we're very different from anybody else that you're going to meet out there, because we're not selling, come along to a nice little circle and sit for 3 years and we'll hold your hand and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 6-month boot camp. And I mean a 6-month boot camp where you're putting in 10 to 15 hours a week. You're watching video after video after video. You're going through circle after circle after circle. And we provide the website. And at the end of it, you should be able to earn an income. Now, maybe, just maybe, we could get somebody to train as a medium and then become the second female to stand for the American presidency.
There we are. I'll send Kamala a note.
I'll
send Kamala a note and see if she wants to learn how to be a medium.
And then they can turn around and say, and I owe it all to Marc and Debbie. That was Patrick just saying hi there. So hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Now, I should have mentioned this in case you haven't seen it. At the very bottom, there's a link. Debbie and I are 2 working professional mediums. If you would like a reading, put that link into your browser. Let me just put the link into the chat.
And I will try not to fall asleep before the end of this broadcast.
So I'm putting this into the chat. If you want a reading, if anybody's watching us, click on that. We've got about another 4 or 5 minutes before we close down, so I should have put that up earlier. Apologies, everybody. If you're watching this after the live, like we do stream it into our Facebook pages and other places. So if you're not watching this live, very sorry. Don't use that link next week because it's because of the app that we're using. It's a different link every week.
Yes, just to be
confusing.
Okay,
so while we're waiting for somebody to not or do or whatever, remember there's a newsletter coming out this week. So if you're not getting it, go register for it. markstewartmedium.com/newsletter. Remember, if you're watching this on Facebook, Facebook delete it after 30 days. So go to YouTube, follow us on YouTube at Scottish Medium. Wherever you're seeing this, if it's on Facebook, join, register, follow on Facebook as well. We would greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
If you would like to get a free event at one of our training circles, that's the Calendly link. You will find that in the blog. So a quick way to find that, don't panic if you can't write it down, go to the markstewartmedium.com/blog. Every blog page has that at the bottom. And as I said, just remember, if you want to see everything that we do, follow, but go to Scottish Medium on YouTube because they take it down on Facebook after 30 days. Very sad, but they do. Okay. I think that's about it. Unless you can think of anything else, Debbie.
I think that's about it. And you've just gone on and on and on. So maybe next week I'll do all the talking.
Meanwhile, let's just leave on that happy picture.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. It's been a pleasure. We'll hear you. See you next week. The Marc Stewart Medium Network. Full details at markstewartmedium.com/network. Across multiple platforms delivered with our unique Scottish humour,